For Christies and Sothebys, Paris was a sideline in the art market for a long time. But after the British exit of the EU, the French capital sees its chance. Both auction houses are already in position, and not just them. It almost felt like the world before, with the one difference that the colorful art crowd that pushed through the exhibition rooms of Christie's in Paris was wearing a mask, as we all do at the moment. At the end of January, the British auction house made its Paris branch on Avenue Matignon 62 gallery owners available for the African Art Fair 54. A complete success, as you can imagine, because in times when museums are closed, galleries and auction houses develop in the last stronghold of real art experience, real magnets not only for art collectors, but for all those who are hungry for culture, although they are closed in Germany too. Christie's has been based on Avenue Matignon, a short artery in the Golden Triangle between the Champs-Élysées and the Élysée Palace, for more than 2 decades. In recent years, it has developed into the new center of the Paris art market. Observers see this as a clear sign. Paris could dispute London for its position as the main trading center for art in Europe after Brexit. The gap is still huge. After the USA, Great Britain lost 9% with a 20% market share in 2020, but France only comes in 4th place with just 7%, according to the experts in the last art market report from the Basel Art Fair and UBS Bank. Despite the pandemic, Christie's took over the adjoining rooms of the Galerie Félix Vercel shortly before the end of the year, and since then has had a showcase for exhibitions, a real eye-catcher. You could think of a luxury boutique, says Cécile Verdier, director of Christies Paris, only half jokingly, when the robes of the recently deceased chansonnière Zizi Jeanmaire are on display there, all from the Yves Saint Laurent house, which at the end of January during a multi-day online auction came under the virtual hammer. My aim is to change our image and, above all, to reduce the fear of the threshold, Verdier assures in an interview. Words like shopping experience and mixing of the clientele are used. And the message is, the long-established auction houses are not just for millionaires. Everyone can now bid for lots of apartment resolutions for several €100 from their home computer. The pandemic has accelerated a revolution that was already underway. Digital business is up and running. The competitor Sothebys has also increased its worldwide turnover in online sales recently. Nonetheless, auction houses will still need such showcases. Since Brexit, when many collectors and players in the art market are looking eagerly at Paris, the Avenue Matignon has been the focus of attention. American and British gallery owners have opened branches there in recent years, including big names like Gagosian and White Cube. Paris is back on the map, said Mathieu Paris, director of White Cube, commenting on his move to the Seine. This was followed by a wave of renowned Parisian gallery owners such as Almine Reich, Emmanuel Perrotin and Kamel Menour, who by no means closed their galleries in the Marais or the Latin Quarter, but expanded their empire to include exhibition spaces on Avenue Matignon. The art dealer Jacques Lacoste, who specializes in furniture from the 20th century, also has 500 square meters of exhibition space on one of the most expensive streets in Paris. The grand finale will be the move of Sothebys in 2023. The Israeli-French telecom and media tsar Patrick Drahi, who bought the American auction house in 2019, is said to have paid an estimated €65 million for the seat of the legendary Bernheim Jeune Gallery. The magnificent building is on the corner of Avenue Matignon and Rue du Faubourg Saint-Honoré. The Paris branches of the two globally dominant auction houses will then be a few minutes walk apart. in between the trendiest galleries in town. And everything is only a stone's throw away from the museums, the Grand Palais, the luxury hotels and gastronomic temples, adds Christie director Verdier. Mario Tavella, Sotheby's bustling and charming Paris boss, switched to an interview with the German newspaper Welt. The Italian, who took over the management of the Paris branch in 2016 after more than 25 years in London, apologizes for the cinematic setting with his period furniture in the background. In the home office, you can imagine worse decor than the interiors of Napoleon III. But Tavella has had a difficult year. The pandemic has resulted in a 50% drop in sales. He puts the result into perspective. 2019 was an extremely extraordinary year for Sothebys Paris because the collection of the designer couple Claude and François Xavier Lalande was auctioned for 91 million euros. Something like that only happens every 10 years. Before the pandemic, Tavella felt an incredible dynamic in Paris. Will the French capital finally overtake London after Brexit? Tavella is a Paris lover who raves about the unique ecosystem of museums, galleries, trade fairs, large private collections, attractive flea markets, but also antiquarian booksellers and artisans. Paris enchants me, and every time the city is heard, I love it even more, says Tavella. The Italian doubts whether Paris can permanently outdo the city on the Thames. So far, only one thing is certain. Especially for European buyers, it will be more bureaucratic and also significantly more expensive in the future to export art from the United Kingdom or offer it for sale there. But in the end, we will probably find that there are no dramatic changes, estimates Tavella. He points out that 75% of Sotheby's clientele in London are non-Europeans, customers from Asia, America, Russia, India or the United Arab Emirates, who will not notice any changes. EU buyers may only make up just under 10%, but a lot is changing for them. Before Brexit, VAT on art in the UK was a low 5%. In addition to island states like Cyprus and Malta, it is unbeatable in Europe. Italy, on the other hand, collects 10%. An art collector who wanted to import an expensive work to Milan could save 5% if he took the detour via London. The French are now in the lead with 5.5%. It is quite possible that this will be enough for Paris to gain market share. Paris definitely deserves a better place, says Tavella. Sure, Paris now has the opportunity to assert itself, says art expert Claire McAndrew, author of the Basel Art Market Report and guru of all art collectors in the Art newspaper. But France should not rejoice too early. There is a risk that art dealers will avoid the EU altogether in the future, she says. And tomorrow will be my next live stream. If you want to ask questions for that, there's a post on my community tab where you can leave your questions. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.